Hi guys, it's me, Arden Lee. It is a super weird time of day and a super weird time of life. And I really felt the urge to make a video today uh, while I'm in this kind of weird space, um, because I want to explain what it feels like right now. And if you guys have been following me for a little while, you know that I've been on a pretty intense process of healing some trauma and healing that really deep unconscious core wound that pretty much all of us have one of some kind. And some things happen, and I've felt like that process sped up a lot lately. I want to talk about what I did to do that. I want to talk about what that feels like, and I want to talk about some of the unexpected symptoms of choosing to go that route. First of all, when I started down this particular branch of the journey, I don't want to say started down the journey because I think that was a long time ago, but this particular branch started less than a year ago, and I was looking to heal some things that were left over from my last relationship. Simple enough. You know, we all go through bad breakups, whatever, and we're like, hey, let's undo some of that. And what happened was I went and I hired a professional, and as soon as we sort of started moving things, it was like Jenga. It was like when you take a box out of the closet and then everything falls on top of you. We moved, we started moving things, and just more and more stuff came up, and I was like, oh wow, there's that too, there's that, and there's that, and all this other stuff that I had not addressed, just going back all through things, and I was really in a great deal of exhaustion over it for quite a few months. I don't want to say I was in a lot of pain, although pain certainly came up, but when I think about pain, I think about pain not being difficulty or challenge. I think about pain being that feeling of when you're stuck. So it wasn't pleasant, it was uncomfortable, but I don't want to say it was painful by my definition, but it was definitely challenging. It was exhausting, and I felt like there were times where I was like, "Oh my God, I feel like I'm Rocky in the corner and just getting like the shit beat out of me." And I have to just keep going and keep going and keep going. And I found myself looking forward, trying to figure out a timeline. Like, when is this going to be over? And that was often frustrating because I would think I was near the bottom. I'm like, this has to be it. This has to be, like, we have to be done now. Like, this must be, surely I've reached the bottom at this point. And then sure enough, there would just be more, and it would just keep coming. So, so I stopped, after a while. I want to say it was around late February, early March of this year. I finally had another thing uncover where I realized the scope of the work that was in front of me. And I realized, I was like, I kept thinking I was about to wrap it up, and then I was like, no, there's a whole big thing that has to be fixed here, that involves so many other aspects of my life, that is not just about internalizing a new belief, although those are important, but rather really tackling several things that I had thought were unrelated that I was procrastinating on. And I was really thinking, like, I'm going to do this first. I'm going to solve all this first, and then I'm going to do this. And no, I had the order backwards on that. I won't get into exactly the specifics of that right now because I don't think it's relevant to the points that I want to make. I'm going to stick to talking about it just theoretically. But basically basically there were several things that I knew were long-term projects that I could no longer put off as something to happen after my healing, that they were indeed actually a part of the healing process. And when I realized that, I kind of had this moment of surrender where I said, okay, fine, whatever has been guiding me, whatever force has been showing me all the next steps as I'm doing this, which I felt very, very strongly. You can call that my intuition, you can call it my higher self, you could call it God, I don't really care. Honestly, kind of they're all words for the same thing anyway, ultimately. There's not a lot of differentiation there. So, at some point I surrendered and I said, fine, I have no idea how long this is going to take. I have no idea when it's going to be over. And every time I try to guess, there's more and more. And I understand that by saying, hey, are we there yet? Every 5 minutes, that's a form of being in resistance. That is not helping me. That is slowing the process down. That asking to be shown, when is this going to be over? How much more do I have to do? Is a form of resistance. So I decided to say, okay, I'm not going to ask when it's going to be over. I'm just going to commit myself to the process. And basically what I said was, look, I'm in cooperation here and I want to get this done quickly, but I know that I can't cut corners, and I want to make sure that I learn every lesson thoroughly. But listen, I've always been a really good student. I've always been one of the kids who finished the test first in the class and handed it in and still got an A. And that kind of learning is, I'm good at that. So let's just get this done. I will learn things quickly. I will implement the lessons as soon as they're given to me. And, and also I understand that part of my path is also I will share them with other people because that's my way of giving back. So please just, can we get it done quickly? And I'm cooperating with you, so please, I don't want any more pain. I don't mind challenge, I don't mind hard work, I don't mind discomfort, but please don't make this hurt. I'm already listening. And and stuff really changed. I feel like every video I'm making these days, by the way, is me being like, so I said something and then stuff happened. It's so true. It's really, really, really true. And as soon as I did that, teachers started appearing. People started volunteering to work with me for free, which is incredible. The universe was like, we're not letting you make any excuses. There are people who are going to show up and say, hey, let me give you a complimentary session. And sure enough, stuff started moving. And I really committed in this past month to delving pretty deep into meditation, delving into ceremony, and committing to a really rather shamanic journey. I was going to say, for lack of a better word, but that is the word. It's just that I feel weird about using it. I feel super, super weird about using it. This was not really supposed to be this strange. This was not supposed to be this weird. This was just supposed to be about my healing. This was not supposed to be about understanding the nature of divinity in the universe. That was strange, but sure enough, it came up before it happened. And I cast a spell around Halloween about trauma healing, because who doesn't want to feel better? I was like, oh, let's heal this, let's just cast a spell. And of course, it didn't show up as just immediate healing. It showed up as this huge workload, because magic works magic isn't magic. It works quite literally. There have to be steps that are taken. It has to work in the physical world as well for it to actually work. And so that happened. And as I mentioned in the last video, it was sometime around, what was it, Pisces new moon. So it was sometime in February that I launched a sigil, and that I was like, I'm gonna sigilize for I am in the vibration of my soul's fulfillment, thinking like, that's super positive, that's great. Boy, it feels weird. Boy, it feels super weird to have had my expansion progress that rapidly, because I decided I just wanted to take the express elevator to the top floor because I got impatient, quite frankly. And on top of that, I did a spell in my women's group that was led by my friend Ellie Prana, who, among other things that she teaches, does these great classes where she helps people create very specifically intentioned vision boards. And I had this weird thing happen to me, right? So I was like, okay, my intention is going to be about self-love. So we had this thing where we were creating, just a page out of some magazine images, and I had this weird thing, and it's on my Facebook, if you're there, from I want to say like early March of this year. There's a picture of it there. I'll see if I can like put something in the description box or something. But basically, I had this weird thing happen where the first magazine image that I saw, that I was drawn to, I picked it up and I cut it out. It was of a blonde girl in a white dress, with her arms out like this, and she's touching two halves of a geode of this purple crystal, and she's in like a field with grass. So she's this kind of like earthbound thing. Then the second magazine I picked up, I opened it, and immediately the first image I saw was the exact same image, but in the astral. And it was an ad for Thierry Mugler's Alien fragrance. And sure enough, it was a blonde girl in a white dress, only very glamorous, very intergalactic looking, with her arms out like this, same thing, with this geometric dome above her. And sure enough, the bottle for the fragrance was a purple crystal. So I was like, okay, blonde girl, white dress, purple crystal, one in the earthbound, one in the astral. So obviously this was it was like immediate. So I just, I cut it out. I made this cute little vision board out of these two images. And my friend Ellie was like, Arden, I've never seen anyone do that quickly. Like, you did that in under 5 minutes. This is clearly coming to you very, very quickly. And the message for me from seeing that synchronicity of those two images, the first two that I looked at being the exact same thing except on two different planes, the image I got was like, okay, if you want to achieve self-love, then you need to unite your earthbound self with your soul, with your higher self, yourself on the astral. The fact that I'm saying all these words, you guys, it's very strange, by the way. It's a really weird experience. And so sure enough, it's been a couple months, and now I find myself saying stuff like this, and this this simple intention I said of like, okay, self-love, that sounds good, like that's great. And now just from saying that, and doing that exercise, having that, which it didn't even feel really like I did that like on purpose. I didn't find those, like, those were the two images that were just right there. That felt like something that just came through that I was not in control of. But in receiving that message, okay, unite your humanity with your spirituality, it feels like I'm starting to remember who I was before I was born. And that's a weird feeling. It's a super, super weird feeling. And again, I asked for this. I asked for everything to speed up. So I'm not unhappy about it. And it would be really hypocritical of me if I tried to resist it, because it's kind of like, if you ask someone to do something and they do it for you, and then you like, complain about it or whatever. Like, they're not going to want to work with you anymore. And the universe is very similar. So I asked for this. I can certainly say thank you and I'm ready to change it at any point, but that's kind of different. That's not a lack of gratitude. That just means like, thank you, I got it, I got what I needed, and now I'm complete with that. But I'm not complete with it because I haven't finished the journey. So the universe would kind of know that I was bullshitting. I'm clearly not complete with this. I'm still on the path. And it's fine. It's what, like I said, it's what I asked for. But it really is strange and it really is weird. And it's just processing a whole lot of energy at once. And it's going through me and it feels very intense. And I'm not sure I could have understood what all of this would mean before I started. I don't think anyone really can. It's something that you have to experience to believe. In my experience, anyway. I don't think I could have pictured it otherwise. And the weird thing about it is that the version of me from just a few months ago seems, at this point, so very different from the person who I am talking to you right now that I'm going to try and explain it with like a movie trope. Do you know, like, I feel like there's movies where someone's past lives have made decisions for them, and then they wake up and, you know, and now they're like, okay, apparently that was a version of me that did all those things, but that wasn't me. This isn't fair. Like, you know, this is not something that I had control over. I want to say Jupiter Ascending was one of those, where in her past life she was not even the past life or something like that, she was the villain's mother, and there was something about, you know, something that she had done that was now affecting her in her current incarnation. And you know, I feel like there's others too, and I can't think of them right now, but hopefully you know what I mean. It's that idea that there was a self that was you that made decisions, but that's the other one I'm thinking of, is the Black Mirror Christmas special, when the woman has a digital copy of her personality made, who is her kind of, you know, in-home Siri, Alexa, you know, running all of her appointments and stuff just in the digital world, but still has her consciousness. And she's like, what version of me trapped me in this slavery? Because clearly my consciousness is in that person, but it's also here in me, and I'm experiencing this one where I'm trapped in this digital control room as a slave to myself. Thankfully, I'm not trapped like that. But looking at the span of my life now, really feels like I have become so different from the person that I was then, up until even just a couple months ago, that I don't always feel like I understand the decisions I made then. I do. I understand cognitively. In fact, sometimes way better. I'm like, oh, because I was doing this and this and this, I was acting out of that programming, that's why I reacted in that way. But in many ways, I'm kind of like, how did I end up here? And is this where I wanted to be? Is this where this version of me wanted to be? And, you know, because we are creators, I'm not trapped in this at all. In fact, I'm shedding off so much of it that is no longer working for me. But it really does feel weird, because it feels like being a blank canvas. And that's great, because limitless possibilities, you know, that's very cool. You know, I'm not complaining. It's just highly disorienting. Yeah, it's really, really bizarre. And feeling like you're in the same world, but everything looks different is a strange feeling. So, so, uh, so that's rapid expansion. And you can ask for it. It will require a lot of hard work. It will, take you places that you could not possibly have anticipated, because the very meaning of expansion is to expand your field of vision to where previously you were myopic and had plenty of blind spots. So when I say that it will end up in a way that you can't imagine, that's quite literal. Because before you expand, you literally can't see what's possible. When you see what's possible, it feels weird. I have a recurring dream where I'm in my apartment. And this has been going back since even when I lived in New York, it was happening. Where I dream I'm in my apartment and I discover a room or sometimes a whole wing that I've never seen before. And it's cool and also frustrating because I'm like, oh my God, I've been living here paying rent in this apartment and I haven't been using this room. This would be great. I could throw parties in it, or I could do something. And it's great, and at the same time it's like, but how was this here the whole time and I didn't even notice? And I've been having some more of those dreams lately, so that's pretty obvious. So yeah, if you align yourself to the lessons that the universe is going to teach you, and you remove your resistance that is showing up in funny ways that you're probably not even aware is resistance, because you're like by saying, hey, come on, I want this to happen, it sounds like you're in flow, but if you're putting constraints on it, then that is a form of resistance by expecting it to show up in a certain way and look like a certain thing. So instead of doing that, if you just say that you are committed to the process and you want to move forward, and you start to listen and say, please make it super clear, that'll happen. If you cast a spell to unite your human self with your astral self, shit's gonna get really weird and you're gonna start talking and sounding like you're crazy. And finally, things are gonna look very strange, but it is worth it. I feel really, despite all of the turmoil, I feel peaceful. I feel happier than I've felt in a long time, which is cool. So that's it. And I invite you to examine your own journey and decide, based on what I'm talking about now, whether that is ever something that you would like to do for yourself. It's pretty strange, but it's pretty cool too. Night night.